Well, welcome to Sisters in Live Sisters in Law live stream. This is my colleague, Judge T, and I'm Rosalind Charles, and we're back here to kind of recap some of the events of last week and also talk about our upcoming show. But speaking specifically about the events of last week, we have had a whirlwind event with respect to our
45.
Yes, I was about to say our president.
I'm trying to stay over here be calm because 45 is making me about to lose my mind. He had three conferences that we want to talk about. One is the one with Netanyahu.
Yes.
The
second one was with
the media.
The media.
And then the rally, like he's still running for president.
Well, you know
in
what?
Florida.
And with respect to the press conferences as well as the rally that he had yesterday, I think the general theme should be, how many more lies can the 45th tell?
See, he's playing a mind game with you. He keeps calling everyone else a liar because the man every word that comes out of his mouth is an habitual lie. And then this is one thing. Let's start off and tell you why it's important. Once you are sworn in with any state government, any federal conversation you have with the federal government,
within your capacity,
or even as a citizen, if you have a conversation with the FBI and you voluntarily answer questions and you do not tell the truth, it is called perjury. That is a penalty of 5 years in most jurisdictions, at least one, along with fines.
Now we're talking about Donald Trump's. We're not necessarily just talking about his actual lies and what it means, but one of the things that it also means is that he's attempting to undermine the press by lying. He is going forward. You know, one of the most important tenets of our Constitution is not the Second Amendment, not the Second Amendment, Third, Fourth, the First Amendment. And our forefathers put the First Amendment in place for a reason, to deal with situations like this. Who knew we'd be dealing with a situation where?
But Donald Trump says he wants a strict interpretation of the Constitution, suppression of the press, and even John McCain.
Yes.
He was very adamant on the fact that suppression of the press is how we get a dictator. Now, he wouldn't go as far as to say that Donald Trump was a dictator, but whether he says it or not, the reality of it is people. I want to start with the lies. This is a Jim Jones we're going through, and Donald Trump is our new. Remember Jim Jones?
Jim Jones
used the red Kool-Aid to convince his whole following to kill themselves.
So you're suggesting that the Kool-Aid in this particular case,
the Kool-Aid is the lies.
The Kool-Aid is the mind game.
It's the manipulation of words that. So if you say something to Donald Trump, he'll deflect it back. You liar. Now he takes. I guess his greatest pinpoint now is CNN. I don't know. I mean, somebody at CNN has really pissed him off.
He doesn't like the press at CNN.
Only the Fox and the Fox Hen. And that's only in the morning friends that he likes. But the Fox and the Fox Hen, the Fox and the Fox Hen, because see, all of you little chickens out there, he's the fox. And he's going to try to gobble you up with the red Kool-Aid. This is my Jim Jones theory that I want you, because see, as I said in our first show, and I will continue, because I truly believe it as someone who understands the law and personally, that we cannot have a president who cannot tell the truth. Impeachment is an inevitable. Before this man has, the first lie we want to talk about is Flynn.
Well, we want to talk about Flynn. Let's just talk about some of his lies in general.
Oh,
he said that he won the presidency by the most electoral votes in history.
Well, and then we know that Bush, Obama, and Clinton had more electoral votes than
and the press called him out on it, and he's not pleased with that.
And then we go back to the 5 million people that were supposed to be who have voted, and were they all Hispanic? But we know 5 million people who voted illegally. That voted. Then we had bus loads of people coming in from Massachusetts to New Hampshire.
Let's just talk about last week. Last week he talked about his electoral college win. Last week he indicated that the Muslim ban that rollout was smooth.
Well, yeah,
last week
they proved last night that he's really talking about
last week.
We'll get back
Hillary
to that.
Clinton gave uranium to the Russians. Last week, I mean, it just goes on and on and on. And these aren't just things that you can
Switzerland that
nuance.
was supposed to be having
Last week, Switzerland was, and not Switzerland, Sweden was attacked.
And the Swedish people are asking, what happened? We were attacked? I mean, the man's gonna lie not just on Americans, he wants to lie on other people.
He has taken on the mantle of Kellyanne, because Kellyanne Conway was prone to making up fake attacks, because we can go back to Bowling Green, that never happened.
But then the people he had to lie. Now, we had Flynn to resign or to take his name out of nomination for the national security because he had talked to the Russians. Now, this whole thing about talking to the Russians, this is what makes this lie more over-exaggerated than, not over-exaggerated, under-exaggerated, I should say. Because President Obama,
Yes.
and then the acting Attorney General
Yes.
spoke to 45 as soon as he was inaugurated and told them that Flynn may be subjected to
Blackmail or some kind of compromise.
because they knew that they had tapes on him having conversations with regards to the President Obama's ban or restrictions that he was going to put on Russia.
Correct.
So, now, why did not Pence even know that Pence should not even had to, Flynn shouldn't have to ask Pence anything because Pence is supposed to be the vice president.
Right. But
Kelly Conway came on television
and said
Spicer.
no issues. Came on television, denied that Flynn had any contact with the Russians. Priebus came on television, lied. Well,
and
represented.
Now,
have been lied to by Flynn. At least that's the way they're trying to spin it at this point.
Flynn he's going to take the hit. He's going to take the hit for 45.
Well,
because 45 knew. And even with 45, even once he resigned, he said he did nothing wrong. He did what he was supposed to do. Well, under the Logan Act,
the 45th supposed to know everything that's going on.
Remember, he knows more than
but he didn't
everybody.
know about this. But he did know. He knew for 2 weeks and chose not to tell the vice president.
Why wasn't the vice president at the security conference? Why wasn't he there present when the Secret Service, President Obama was explaining?
I think it's very.
to them
I think it's very calculated. I think it's very calculated. I think that Vice President Pence realizes that he's got more than a handful to deal with.
Why
and
is,
I'm
why,
going
now,
to
why
back up
is
and
Pence,
stay away. I'm going
why
to stay
is
away.
Pence over in Germany speaking on behalf when our president is having a rally in Florida?
At an international
this man
security
needs to be
council.
stroked every second he wants. You got to stroke him like a little lap dog.
So let's get back to that council just for a second. That conference is taking place in Germany. Do you know Senator McCain was at that particular conference?
Yes, he was.
And he took it
and
upon
he spoke
himself.
on those lies.
Yes, he took it upon himself to run down what he was dissatisfied with the 45th. He too never named him by name, but it was very clear to the people at the conference, which is comprised of folks from the international community. They are both government officials as well as private sector individuals who sit down, and there's a think tank about how to deal with the security between both transatlantically as well as all over the world. This is what's going on, and our president
45.
is essentially making us a laughing stock around the world.
45, while Japan was here. Now, I don't even know if 45 is even staying in the White House. Because when the Japanese
it's only been
prime
30
minister
days.
came,
It's not
they
even 30
transition
days
at
yet.
12 o'clock on the day that he is inaugurated.
Yes, yes.
Well, when the Japanese prime minister was here, he spoke to him, and he was going on and on how at day one he got Boeing to go down on the cost of Air Force One. It was supposed to be $4.5 billion, and Boeing and Lockheed, they just started going back and forth. The first day he got down to $1 billion.
But
and
the 45th, with his power,
but this is the
and
crazy
imminent
part.
negotiation abilities.
He said that he negotiated that Air Force One would be so low that the Japanese the Japanese Prime Minister thanked him because he says, thank you, because now our planes are going to be low. Why are we trying to make it cheaper for the Japanese? Aren't we supposed to be making money?
That's fake news.
But why is he even having that conversation with the Japanese Prime Minister? Now, remember, he took him to his house in Mar-a-Lago while Un Sun, what is that fool over there in North Korea?
Now.
He has, he's got ships in international water, and this
Kim Jong-un.
This man is actually speaking about blowing ships out of the water in front of not just
private citizens at Mar-a-Lago,
and
we're talking about
international guests. He's talking about leaks and conversations on text messages with Hillary.
With
oh
Flynn,
my God!
The ultimate message from the 45th was not wrong that was committed by Flynn, but the leaks that exposed him, and he's concerned about the leakers. And
I thought he loved leaks when it was Hillary. Give me more leaks. WikiLeaks. I love WikiLeaks. I love WikiLeaks. Well, now the leak is on you.
Well,
you're leaking now.
In some respects, the 45th is the leaker in chief.
He's a liar in chief.
Well, he's got so many names, so many acronyms, and so many adjectives that can be attributed to him.
Let me tell you,
and none of them are positive.
This is what I'm telling you, and I said this to my co-host. This man reminds me of when I was a kid. And I don't know if many of you used to watch Dark Shadows.
Oh, goodness.
Remember Barnabas Collins? He just laid, I think this man this is why it doesn't matter whether he goes to Mar-a-Lago or he goes to Trump Tower with his wife. The man just lays in a casket, and at 3 o'clock, he just sits his head up and he starts tweeting. I'm telling you.
We got a question from our audience that says, what's the possibility of impeachment?
Well, that's
a process.
Now, let me tell you.
That's a process.
Remember, they have both the Senate and Congress. The Senate has to vote by 2/3 for impeachment. First
there has to be articles of impeachment. Someone has to draw up the offenses. And I imagine that
it's like drawing up an indictment.
Right. Within the last 30 days, so much has happened. Well, let's give them another 30, maybe 60 days. But articles of impeachment have to be drawn up. And then, as you indicated, 2/3 of the Senate have to vote on it.
But I can tell you, every single Sunday, when we